Hello, testing. This is working. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Saint Ronan channel. If you're going to be watching this on the Vibe, why I say thank you for stopping by. And yes, as the title of the video of the stream suggests, we're going to be going back into these special verses concerning about what we should and should not be doing with alcohol. But particularly, we're going to be looking at Proverbs 20 verse 1 only. So this is going to be quite a quick stream. We'll be looking into this with some English expository, and I'll make a part two for this also for more. I would add biblical illustrators, which I also forgot to put here. But anyway, let's just open up the source now and see if we can't make this a smooth stream. Yep, praise God for another day. If it weren't for Him, I wouldn't be able to wake up and do this. So here we are. So Proverbs chapter 20 verse 1, and we're going to be looking into exposition or expository English commentary concerning this verse particularly. So what's the verse? Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whoever is intoxicated by it is not wise. Okay, so what does Ellicott have to say here? Well, according to Ellicott's commentary for English readers, wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. Now, producing these effects in those who subject themselves to their power. Okay, producing these effects in those who subject themselves to their power. Who's their power? The power of wine, the power of alcohol. This is so again, in the previous stream or video concerning this, we have talked about how wine has been used in many mystical forms, and this in particular, ladies and gentlemen, is sin. But this more fully connotates more on strife because it mocks and it's raging. It doesn't get tired. There's always contention. There's always someone to point fingers on. There's always somebody to make fun of, right? But then again, that wouldn't be the case too, because at the same time, no, actually, it is the same thing. But it's not. It's more on the point where sin gets a hold of you. Okay. One other commentary that we've came across is that I guess it was Tertullian of Carthage, or was it Clement of Alexandria? Either way, we know that the church father commentary went as this: wine hates those who are fond of it. Now, what if we change the word to sin? Sin hates those who are fond of it. You take too much, and it will mock you. It will mock you. It will destroy you too, and it will drive you mad. That's as far as I can remember. So Ellicott actually appeals to that commentary, where producing these effects in those who subject themselves to their power. So think about wine. So think about the wine as sin. Not saying that drinking alcohol itself is a sin, but if we were to change that, sin being the case that it hates you and it hates those who are fond of it too, and it will mock you, it will drive you insane, and it will make you not know what you're doing. Or, like what I said, it will make you mad. You get so drunk with it that you have thrown away or set aside or overwhelmed all faculties of rational thinking. You can't discern when you're drunk. You can't see what's going on when you're drunk. You lose motor functions when you're drunk. You lose sensory perceptions when you're drunk. Well, you don't necessarily lose the motor, but it will be affected with disequilibrium. So guys, it's not wrong to have alcohol, but the sin here is do not get drunk by it. And concerning sin, as a Christian, nobody wants to be drunk with sin. We don't want to be in that state of reprobation now, do we? Okay? Now what about Mr. Benson? What does he have to say about this? Wine is a mocker. Wine immoderately drank makes men mockers or scoffers at God and man. Do you remember the time where Jesus made turned water into wine? And here we have Proverbs, or here we have even Benson telling us, if we get drunk by this, or if we take this wonderful gift that God gave us immoderately, we mock or scoff at God. We blaspheme him in a way. Why? He made this wonderful thing for you to enjoy, not for you to get lost in it. So you mock him that way when you get drunk. We're going to get to the verses afterwards that are being underlined. Or is a mocker to the sinner himself. See, wine already hates those who are fond of it. It will mock you, it will drive you insane, and you will not end up thinking. Sinner so is a mocker to the sinner himself, makes a mock of him. Sin, see? Or let's say Romans 7. Sin likes to vexate and mock you. Now, deprives him of his understanding and causes him to speak and act like a fool, and thereby renders him ridiculous and exposes him to shame, contempt, and insult. See, sin condemns you by that which is good. Now, strong drink is raging, excites unruly passions in men's minds, and makes them full of rage and fury. When wine is in, says one, wit is out, and then the man, according as his natural temper is, either mocks like a fool or rages like a madman. So either this is the man who gets drunk, or this is either the man who is now suffering from the influence of alcohol, probably having blackouts or whatnot. Now, I can still agree with this premise because Mr. Benson in the first premise is that it is not a sin to drink wine. Consequently, it is the fact that you immoderately have partaken wine or taken alcohol. So yes, even by this, we know that wine doesn't mean juice. Now, the word home or home, the word home here rendering raging, says Bishop Patrick, signifies that discomposed, unquiet, and restless state of mind, which expresses itself in wild and tumultuous motions. There you go. This is the rendering, this is the Hebrew foundation where they render strong drink is a brawler or strong drink is what? Is raging. See? So, and we will get to the we'll get to the concordance of this Hebrew word. So, that discomposed, let's underline this one. That discomposed, unquiet, and restless state of mind, which expresses itself in wild and tumultuous situations. See? That discomposed, unquiet, and restless state of mind, which expresses itself in wild and tumultuous situations. I mean, no, not situations. I'm sorry. Itself in wild and tumultuous motions. Yeah, I'll admit to you right now, it's not comfortable being drunk. It doesn't feel good when you're drunk. It doesn't, like, you'd wonder why you tell yourself, I'm not doing that again. And if you go even way further than that, well, you're going to end up puking all over the place. Or if you don't, if you still have the faculties to aim your face and kneel down in your toilet, you will give it a different kind of smell that will eventually dissipate throughout your bathroom. Yeah, drunkenness gives you that unpleasant state of consciousness where everything is moving, everything is just like you just want to head to bed and sleep. Believe me, I've been there and I'm not doing it again. You would know when you've had enough. Tipsy is just the first warning. No, knowing your limits is just the first warning. Tipsy says, you're about to have too much. No. Whosoever is deceived thereby, namely by wine or strong drink, is not wise, is a fool or a madman, because he deprives himself of the use of his reason. Exactly. When you're drunk, you can't discern, you can't think, you can't understand, heck, you can't even see. You're not wise. Let's change that. Just for the sake of example, if you are deceived by wine or strong drink, you are a fool. Why would you by way of alcohol, immoderately partaking of it, deprive yourself of reason, deprive yourself of rationality? Now, thus the first precept in this chapter is against drunkenness as an enemy to wisdom, even in common things, much more in those of everlasting consequence. For it commonly expels out of men's minds all reverence, both to God and others, inclining them to take the license to say or do anything without restraint or discretion. Sounds like free grace, too. Therefore, though it pretends to be a sociable thing, it renders men unfit for society, making them abusive with their tongues and outrageous in their passions. See? There is a specific commentary that I have forgotten. I mean, it was in my mind, but now it went away. Okay. But thing is, you can get drunk with anything. It doesn't have to be alcohol. You can get drunk with sin, with your gluttony, with your ego, that you can't possibly have done things right. And you've drunk yourself so deep into your ego, so deep into your pride that what? You no longer stop to think about maybe what you're doing is wrong, right? Because you're so right. Therefore, though it pretends to be a social thing, now, ladies and gentlemen, social drinking is not wrong. But do not bring yourself to a point where you are useless. In fact, even getting drunk in a party or gathering tells people that you have no self control or no continence, or don't even stop to think for yourself, where you lose also the mental faculties to say yes or no because your brain is now riddled with alcohol. Now, according to IP, if you had one bottle, it takes the liver I guess an hour. What is that? What he said? I forgot, but I'll get to that. That short. I mean, if you can even call it, it's like almost 2 to 4 minutes. That short tells you how long it takes the liver to process the alcohol. Anyway, so what did we talk about? The word home. Now, home in Brown Diver Briggs. Now, home in the sense to be boisterous, turbulent as with wine, like Zechariah 9:5. What Zechariah 9:5 say? Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also shall see and be very sorrowful. And Ekron, for her expectation, shall be ashamed. And the king shall perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. Be boisterous, turbulent as with wine. So look at this. Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also shall see it and be sorrowful, and Ekron. Who had sorrow? Who hath woe? The man who was given the wine. And for her expectation shall be ashamed. When you're drunk, you are also open to insults. Thank you very much, Benson. Mr. Benson. Now, but read perhaps or compare. Okay, I can't read these ones. I don't know how to use them. Also participle as adjective of by meton. Proverbs 20 verse 1 of a shameless woman, or yeah, you become boisterous or shameless when you're drunk. Yes. So like that of a shameless woman. Proverbs 7:11 was saying, she is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Yeah, I have seen that. I have seen both women and men get drunk and they end up being, I mean, just listen to our karaoke and bar areas, especially in the ghetto, most especially. They're freaking loud. Like you could even I could even hear it from the car, and they're loud at AF. Proverbs 9 verse 13. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. There you go. This is how Benson was able to come up with this commentary. You will be like these things when you're drunk. And what happens next? Wine is a mocker. When you're intoxicated or drunk with it, well, it's a mocker. So now you're open to insults. Strong drink is raging in the sense where, well, I like that he sourced his Bishop Patrick. Discomposed, unquiet, and restless state of mind, which expresses itself in wild and tumultuous motions. Now, this could also mean a blackout. A blackout is someone under the influence of alcohol, and when drunk, he'll end up really having a fist fight with anyone close to him or around him. Yes, but that could also be that, but could also be that unpleasant, fuzzy, and dizzy feeling that you feel in your head. And if you went beyond that, eventually you'll end up puking, as I've said. Strong's exhaustive concordance, man. This can mean a lot of things when strong drink is raging, okay? And when wine is a mocker. You end up being clamorous, conquerors, you cry aloud, you are disquieted, meaning you're restless, or there's no state of tranquility that can be on. Loud, mourn, be moved, or make a noise. So basically, a drunken man is an unpleasant, impulsive, insufferable individual. It's a drunkard. How much more if that drunkard suffers from blackouts? I mean, you wouldn't want to be even near him unless if they were your drunk friend. Now, a primitive roof Compare whom? To make a loud sound like hum, by implication to be in great commotion or tumult. There you go. This is where Bishop Patrick also draws that commentary. Commotion or tumult. A discomposed, let's go back. A discomposed, unquiet, and restless state of mind which expresses itself in wild and tumultuous motions, such as being loud, being clamorous, being stubborn, and her feet abideth not. She doesn't know where she's. You won't know where you're going, right? Be disquieted, loud mourn, be moved, make a noise, and here we are. Rage, roar, sound, be troubled, make in tumult, tumultuous, be in an uproar. You're in deep crap when you're drunk. Strong's Concordance, Hama, to murmur, growl, roar, or be boisterous. Now, let's go to Matthew Henry's commentary. It seems hard to believe that men of the greatest abilities, as well as the ignorant, should render themselves fools and madmen merely for the taste or excitement produced by strong liquors. How formidable kings are to those who provoke them! How much more foolish then is it to provoke the King of kings? To engage in quarrels is the greatest folly that can be. Yield, and even give up just demands, for peace sake. He who labors and endures hardship in his seed time for eternity will be properly diligent as to his earthly business. Yeah, I mean, turn the other cheek, turn around, leave it. It's not worth it. I mean, you want it so bad, fine, you can have it. I don't want any anymore. Fine. Okay, now I remember. Do you remember Proverbs where we uh re- reference Proverbs 31 that it's not for kings to somewhat drink now. If we take it at the surface, we think that drinking alone or by consequence is wrong, but no, because in the following premises, if you're saying it's wrong to drink, then why would you then say give drink to them, to those who are perishing, and they will forget their troubles no more? Okay, so that's basically, like having a time off. But then, so what is it really? Well, it'd be better for you to avoid it. Not necessarily saying that drinking is wrong, but you're a king and your affairs will be constant for as long as you rule. So try not to, or, well, that's his mother. It is better for you not to do things that would, even by the slightest, taint your sobriety. Because once again, you're a king. You can't allow yourself to be taken by surprise. Now, as for me, that also is an exhortation to reason. Why would I drink myself? Why would I drink myself to the dregs, to the point where I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, or even to the point where I have lost all awareness? I deprive myself of reason and discernment. Now, why would I do that? Why would anyone do that? Why would a Christian do that? Why would you drink yourself stupid? There you go. It's basically drunk. Barnes notes on the Bible: wine and strong drink are personified as themselves doing what they make men do, which is messing up. The latter, see Leviticus 10:9, note, is here probably the palm wine of Syria. So here we are. When the priest was on duty, he was to abstain from wine and strong drink, lest he should commit excess. There you go. And in Leviticus verse 1, it says, and Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. There you go. and so become disqualified for carrying out the precepts of the ceremonial law. Well, there you go. In this ordeal, you are in the middle of a ritual, and you're going to risk drinking yourself to excess to the point where you can't even properly carry out this ceremonial law. So there's even in here, we even see that there's a level of excess. It's not just drinking yourself drunk. It's basically at this point, you cannot either be intoxicated, or tipsy. Why? You're carrying a ceremonial law, which also brings back to me, like before I would even partake in alcohol, I would first pray to God before that. Well, since I'm also a prolific failure in that too, I'll admit. Leviticus 10, verse 9. Strong drink. The Hebrew word is employed here to denote strong drink of any kind except wine made from the grape. Oh, okay. Like like gin. Gin is a strong drink. Jameson, Fosse Brown, Bible commentary. Oh, so he's giving his entire take of the entire chapter. Mocker, scorner. Such men are made by wine, strong drink, made by spicing wine, and it may include wine, raging or boisterous as a drunkard. This is the idea also of raging. So it's not just basically someone who has a blackout. The idea of raging here, well, I guess according to JFB, is that you end up, well, as mentioned in Benson, one who, well, why would you be boisterous if you were not deprived of reason? So this is the idea of a strong drink is raging. It turns you into an undiscerning, clamorous, incoherent, unpleasant style of a man when you're drunk. This is why they say wine is a mocker. Deceive, literally erring or reeling. Wine is a mocker. Wine immoderately drunk makes men mockers or scoffers at God and men. Hosea verse 7 verse 5. Uh, Hosea chapter 7 verse 5. I forgot to put it there. I'm going to read that right now instead. Hosea chapter 7 verse 5. Let's see. In the day of our king, princes have made him sick, inflamed with wine. There you go. He stretched out his hand with scoffers. Well then, strong drink is raging, makes men full of rage and passion, not necessarily the fisticuffs thing, but you end up raging, like you're loud and clamorous. There you go. And is not wise, is a fool or a madman because he depriveth himself of the use of his reason. There you go. Now, what about John Gill? I like John Gill. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging. Wine deceives a man. It not only overcomes him before he is aware, but it promises him a pleasure which it does not give. But, on the contrary, excessive drinking gives him pain, and so mocks him. Yet it exposes him to reproach and disgrace, and to the mockery and derision of others, as well as it sets him to scoff at his companions, and even to mock at religion, and all that is good and serious. Oh, it's right here. And I even have NASB here. On the day of our king, the prince became sick with the heat of wine, and he stretched out his hand with, as predicted, with scoffers. And strong drink not only disturbs the brain, it puts the spirits in a ferment, so that a man rages within, but it sets him a raving and quarreling with his company. There. And here, John Gale also really thinks that, I mean, yeah, well, The thing is, I don't really know a blackout. I mean, I remember it saying that it includes being physically violent, but you can be violent without throwing fisticuffs. Like again, stubborn, clamorous, tumultuous. Let's take a look at the word tumultuous because we're using English Expository. Merriam-Webster, what does tumultuous mean? Tumultuous. Loud, excited, and emotional. There you go. That is the idea of raging here too. Well, the main idea also. But raving and quarreling. Okay, this is tumultuous. Contentions, sorrowful, and wounding. There you go. See? It's not necessarily somebody having a blackout. So, but then again, whether you have a blackout or just raging verbally, you wouldn't want this discomposed state of mind. But it sets him in a raving quarreling with his company and everybody he meets with. Such generally get into broils and contentions and get sore and wounds. And this is where we get the idea of Proverbs 23, verse 29. Who has woe, who has sorrow, who has contentions, who has complaining, who has without cause, who has wounds without cause, who has redness of eyes. This is sickness. This is an illness. And it is a man of wine, or a man so given to wine. In some translations, it says lover of wine. Here. Meditate on that for just a few seconds. I'll give you 10. Another 10. Even I'm even I'm appreciating this verse now because of this commentary. All right, we're done. A man of wine, that is, one that is given to wine, or a wine bibber. So Ben Melech, in quote, is a mocker and he cries out for strong drink that it may be given him, which is not a bad sense of the words. And whosoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Whosoever gives himself to it is not on his guard against it, but is overcome by it. That's a wine bibber. That's a man given to wine. That's a man who is a lover of wine in this particular context. You love it so much, you just let it overcome you anyway. So it does not act a wise with an unwise part. Wine besows as well as deceives men. This may be applied to the wine of fornication, or to the false doctrine and superstition of the Church of Rome, with which nations of earth are deceived and made drunk, and which puts them upon blaspheming God, deriding his people and using cruelty to them. Revelation 17, verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth committed acts of immorality, and those who dwell on the earth were made drunk with the wine of her immorality. Now, I like that John Gill has said this. Okay, particularly this former clause over here, because much like wine, much like somebody who's given to wine or is deceived by it, in the first place, he has already let down his guard. So easily he's overcome by it. So the wine of fornication, or let's say the sin of fornication. So concerning this, I want to open up a particular verse. Wine is like a prostitute. Wine is like a prostitute, or being given to wine is like being given to a prostitute. Okay, it will bring you off your guard, and it will make you do something disgusting. I just gotta, because I think this topic is like close to my heart right now. It's a proverb. There's another way to label this particular person, and we label these people as simps. Yes, we label these people as simps. Like, very given to the freaking e-girls, to the OnlyFans, and they're just spending their money over and over and over again. Just paying them girls, stripping in your screen digitally, just so you could see, well, corporate assets, if you know what I mean. And speaking of the wine of fornication, I'm going to read to you a particular chapter instead. Well, maybe a fraction of that. Here we go. I'm going to be reading from Proverbs chapter 5, verses 1 to 14. And I'm going to highlight this and zoom it for the benefit of you viewers over there, just in case you can't really see. The wine of fornication. Much like a man who is given to wine, he lets his guard down. So is this man given to sexual immorality also. The wine of fornication. Now, my son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. So even through this one, in relation to this, one who is given to wine will drink himself to the dregs, deprive himself of all reason. And here you have in verse 2 the exhortation, do not be a fool. If you're able to control your intake of alcohol, then you're not by consequence the intoxicated fool. Now, let's continue. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. That's what a beer would taste like. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. Getting drunk is blaspheming the Lord's gift called alcohol. Her feet go down to death, lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are immovable, that thou canst not know them. This is, yeah, this sounds like I said, you can be drunk with anything. All you have to do is be given to things. I mean, you even have a while ago there the wine of fornication. So, like, what is drunkenness other than just simply, under the influence of alcohol? Am I correct? Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove your way far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy ears unto the cruel. There you go. Wine is a mocker. Now, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger, and thou mourn at the last when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. So what is spiritual sobriety, ladies and gentlemen? Is it just not is it just necessarily not getting drunk? Is it not just reprobating yourself to the dregs? No, not just that. But spiritual sobriety and self control are, what's a way to put this? Are what? It is the key to reason, the key to health, the key to discernment, the key of understanding and seeing things through. Self control, spiritual sobriety, the exhortations to cling into wisdom and to not deprive yourself of reason is life. Thus, you lower yourself too much and cannot recognize the light anymore because it's too dark. And there will be more to say. We're going to be looking in biblical illustrators. I'm sure there's going to be more. So, yeah, this was going to be a quick stream today. But, well, I did this I prepared that material on the fly while I was in the office. And I just noticed that I was going to have this one too, this stream. Okay, I'm just gonna give this 5 minutes or so. I mean, it's basically now 10 o'clock and where I am, and I gotta get some sleep. All right, and I need to recover because I just came from jujitsu class. And I gotta rest. So that concludes our biblical content session situation. We already got one viewer. Whoever you are, I'm sorry, but I'm about to shut this down. You can watch this on the Vibe. I think I'll just leave a link to this in the and yeah in my community post. Okay, so for those, I know some of you guys are. I know you guys are just going to be watching this in the live. No viewers today in the live situation. So I'm just going to say this right now. Thank you for watching and listening. And if you made it this far, thank you also. Don't take your salvation for granted and take your sanctification seriously. And please, folks, have some spiritual sobriety, discernment, and self control. Enjoy your wine, enjoy your alcohol, enjoy your mixed drink, but do not drink yourself to the dregs that deprives you of reason and spiritual sobriety and self control. And ladies and gentlemen, there's more than one way to just get drunk. Just be given to a number of vices that much that you have let your guard down. Yep, that's what it means to be given to something. It is to give yourself up to it. What does that mean? You've lowered your guard. So don't be like that. Once again, thank you for stopping by. And this is Saint Ronan signing out. Enjoy the outro. Three. Hold on. Let me first. No, not yet. Darn it. Okay. Anyway. Anyway. Enjoy the outro in three. Second, hold on. Enjoy. This is this is Saint this is Saint Ronan signing out in three, two, one. Enjoy the outro.